All right, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Just to call the meeting to order.
Oh, calling the meeting to order.
That's all right.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We don't have any appointments. Is there any public comment?
I'm here to talk about the warning, that's all.
Yeah, we're gonna do the warning next after public
Okay.
comment. We killed two birds, one stone.
Sure.
And there's no public comment. So we will get to the town meeting warnings.
All right, so I talked to Chris Jarvis a few minutes before, a little bit before the meeting. So you have one warning in your packet, but I have two warnings with me. Because Chris wants to have a conversation again about the local option tax. So we have talked to 4 businesses and 2 are yes and 2 are no. We obviously there's some numbers we don't have. We're assuming that we could raise between maybe $80,000 and $100,000, which we could help fund the capital funds for fire and highway with. I think Chris's point, and he can certainly speak to himself, was that our study that we did showed that what, Chris, 60 or 40% was paid by people out of town.
Well, 40% of citizens did business in the town.
Yeah, so 60% of the local option tax may be picked up by someone outside of Bethel. So the deal is obviously if we vote, you can vote on a town meeting, it would take effect in July. If the state approves it, they're only picking up 5 towns a year. Now, obviously, I don't know how many towns are going to vote on it at town meeting, but so I'm not sure what the select board wants to do, what the whole, but maybe you can hear.
Well, I just, I mean, again, I'm not 100% sold on increasing fees, taxes, however we want to wrap it, right? However, there is the ability to, in this case, instead of taxing our citizens 100%, that we would tax our citizens, 40%, where 60% of it could come from outside, which then we're not directly 100% having to tax. I mean, our budget looks good for this year, but again, if we're just looking at this year, I think we're doing a good service for next year, the year coming. And we're still continuing, we carry in our budget $54,000 worth of revenue a year that is from the transfer station, which will dry up in 2 years.
Yep.
So if we do nothing about that, and 2 years from now, the tax rate will increase by 2 cents unless you cut something, that's just going to happen.
Right.
I don't know. I kind of look at it as like a gas tax, nice things about gas taxes is other people pay into that rather than just 100% of, state of Vermont individuals. It's not like registering your vehicle where you pay 100% of that, So if we're looking for unique revenue opportunities, then I think it's a good one. I really would find it hard to believe that anyone that is shopping in Bethel now that wouldn't because of 1%. I mean, think of, I don't know, what's the average thing you buy in Bethel? And you go to the hardware store and you buy something for 20 or 30 bucks, right? I mean, 1% on that, I don't think somebody's going to, go to Randolph for 20 cents, or stop doing their business for that amount of money.
And you talked to 2 people, right, Paul? 2 businesses?
Yeah, I talked to Dave Sambor and Brad at the hardware store.
And they weren't opposed.
Brad was in favor, Dave was not.
Yeah. Oh, I thought Dave was in favor.
No.
Was not. Okay.
But there's an opportunity. I mean, right now, believe it or not, our budget isn't bad compared to others and increases elsewhere. So I would say it's a, kind of a minimum to moderate increase over normal. So maybe it's a better opportunity to put that in front of the voters now rather than make it up. I don't know. Next year, all of a sudden it's going to have a big movement. You wouldn't want to put that in front of the voters because they'll be like, yeah, I don't think so.
And Bethel Mills was opposed. Owen sent me a nice email. He actually had gone through and talked to his accountant, and apparently he builds it into the price of his drinks. So for him, he'd have to increase the price of his drinks, or he would have to, you know, lose revenue by if he chose to pay it. So, so that's the only one. And you
But again,
spoke
you
to
think-
Lang, right?
You know, I don't know, haven't been in the bar in a long time, so apologize, but a $6 beer is, you know, 6 cents, you know, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not, I don't know if anybody's gonna stop drinking beer for 6 cents, or if you have to raise your price for 6 cents, but
Right,
you know, we're, you know, thinking it's, you know, it's not huge amounts.
right.
But there's also a lot of things that come with that option tax, like, you know, well, one, it has to be voted on every 5 years. So in theory, if you voted for it and let's say it passed, 5 years down the road, you have to re-vote for it, which, you know, you could vote it down if it didn't go, or vice versa, vote it down, vote it up, whatever. So you have to do that every 5 years, which is, you know, kind of a good thing.
And you had a conversation with Lang. I did too. What's your takeaway?
Probably the same as yours.
That it was a no.
Yeah,
And what would be behind the no?
just adding more taxes to the businesses here that are people coming here for another reason other than using the businesses here? We're not holding big events that people are coming to and then are here by chance and then using the hardware store, or, you know, it's all just, there's nobody choosing to come here.
So is he afraid that if he sells $100 worth of lumber, that somebody's gonna not pay the extra dollar because they're gonna go to Home Depot now? I mean,
No, I just think it's an added tax that is just being added to the businesses. I don't,
It sounded like to me that it was also took more administrative time to account for it. That's what he mentioned to me.
Well, the two, the folks that I talked with, it's just another line. I actually talked to Damien up at Joe Russo's too. And it's actually just another line on a form. And they just
Yeah.
take 1% of their sales and write it in that one line. It's not,
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't
from what they're
sure.
telling me anyway, I haven't seen it,
Yeah.
but from what they're saying, it's just
I haven't either. Yeah.
taking 1% of it and writing it in that line. And it goes along to the state with their
Yeah.
quarterlies or.
Yep.
I can't imagine that anybody is traveling through town and stops anywhere but the gas station. I don't know that somebody's going to travel through town and go, well, I could stop at O'Reilly's and pick up a part, or maybe Dave's, you know, but that throughway is right through and keep going.
Brad said that well over 60% or more of his traffic is out of town traffic.
No kidding.
And Dave said his is seasonal out of town, you know, if you get the tourists coming up through for during the winter or leaf peeping or whatever.
Yeah.
It's seasonal, and like this time of year, he's really slow, you know, because it's just that time of year. Everybody's slow this time of year. So those were his two points that he mentioned.
Hey, Chris, you said that we had to revote this. I just see how we repeal it, that,
oh, I thought you had put something in there where every 5 years.
that's the Grange.
Oh,
The
okay.
Grange.
The Grange, okay, I was like, did I misread this? Okay, but it can be repealed.
Yeah.
So to your point is it's not about every 5 years automatically, but it can be repealed. So I don't know if you just want to ask each member, see what they want to do, you know.
All right. What do you think, Jordan?
I don't know. It's in the questionnaire, so it's something that we could let go with the questionnaire and get real feedback from the town on how everybody feels about it. And talk about this more or not, right? And put something through immediately.
Dave?
I'm for putting it on the ballot. Yeah, they can do the survey. And that would be a good, that survey is going to be in your, in the book. There's going to be some on the table for an Australia ballot. unfortunately, I've got the feeling that this is going to happen around the state. So I think you're going to be doing it pretty much everywhere you go. I mean, you use your credit card around here, anywhere around, there's a 3% tax on that. Boom. And
Oh, a
most of
service
them aren't
fee.
telling you that,
Yeah, the
Right.
service fee, yeah,
but there's
Yeah,
a service
service
fee, so
fee.
they don't have to pay that 3% that 3% fee on their credit cards.
exactly, yeah, people been doing.
And as far as our budget, it doesn't do anything to our budget now. It'll save our budget later.
Yeah, because it would be
That money,
less we
it doesn't
appropriate,
cost us anything to do this.
right?
And as far as the bigger businesses, while I'm not a coder or a programmer, I'm pretty sure that the guys who hire people like we do for our payroll, it's a
Yeah.
it's all done. And when the thing comes up for sale, it puts X money into Lang's pot and X money to the state's 6% pot, X amount of money to 1% pot. So that's where I stand.
Paul?
I think that we should get more feedback from taxpayers. Only because, yes, it's only a penny, but it's the appearance of adding more tax at a time when we're really strapped. Everybody is strapped financially, and we always talk about the elderly, not the elderly, but the demographic that's changing in this town. And it's not so much that it's a penny, but I think it's the appearance that if we charge in and say, okay, I'm going to do this, that the appearance is that we're just adding on another tax. So I think getting the feedback first, I think when it all sugars off, you're going to get a positive feedback. Because people are going to realize once they think about it and how it's going to impact them. But I think just going ahead and dictating it through is not going to get us any points. So that's what I think.
Okay. Chris?
I don't know. I mean, I can go either way with it. I mean, it would be something that we'd be putting on the warning. It's not like the select board here is making up the decision on 1%.
No.
Fee tax, whatever we want to call it. I mean, it all comes out of the same pocket. I think that, if we don't put it on the warning, then we need to at least, well, either way, we need to have a lengthy discussion about it to educate people on. Because the first thing is they hear is 1% tax. Tax, instantly walls go up, and you don't want that. But when you really start to explore it, for instance, whatever our budget ends up being next year, which it's not going to go down,
No.
right? So in this case, it could be, instead of, raising 100%, tax in the town for your budget, you could be only raising a portion of that tax. And,
Right.
and other people that don't live here could be paying some of that for you.
I mean, I
So
think you make a valid point, which is
so I think
you're
we have
putting
to-
on the warning and the voters will.
Yeah,
decide.
I mean,
But I think you've only got 150 or 180 voters.
Yeah.
That's going up at town meeting.
does the 1%, is this one of these that would have to be done how we do it in person, or would you have to do this Australian ballot? Some of these where you
No,
have
it
to
can be
warn it a
voted
certain
off.
way.
It'd be voted off the floor.
Top floor.
Yep. And no matter when you do it, it'll be voted off the floor. So, but I mean, there is something in town report about local option tax, about the explanation of it. And in this, I have two versions. One version is that it's something the select board is considering. And then the other version is, but it's similar, but it's the same facts. So if Chris is a sort of yes, and those two are sort of no's, then you're sort of, you're the tiebreaker.
So I don't have to shoot.
That's right. Hey, what the heck? But I mean, it's, like we said, I mean, if Chris is right, we all know the budget's going to go up next year. We're not going to have any, health insurance is all of a sudden not going to drop and become much more affordable. So, and Dave said that earlier, budgets go up. So, and if we vote it this year and it passes, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get it because the state's only picking 5. It could automatically roll till next year. And
But you don't.
the money that we raise would next year offset highway equipment and fire department equipment. So it's not like this is going into any sort of, the general funds surplus. This is going into, to funds for equipment because it's so expensive. So.
I mean, I think I would just make, if we're not going to put it on the warning, then I wouldn't want to see it. I wouldn't want to see it on the screen. And the reason why I say that is,
You wouldn't want to see it in the survey?
and the reason for that is I think if we don't put it on the warning, then we should do it on any non-binding business at the end
We could do
of
it.
town meeting day where we could actually talk about how this could impact or not impact you.
So we could do it.
And you could do a hand count, type thing, because if you just do this, I mean, I think any way you try to word this,
Yeah,
it can be misleading in many
It's
different
tough.
ways. And then I don't think you're gonna get the true consensus of people.
right. So we could do it as a not. That's the third option that I did not create. So on the warning,
Not
but
binding?
we could do it as a non.
But you don't have to put that, it doesn't have to be a written article. You can just, somebody
Usually
can,
they are.
really? I thought you could just stand up and.
Well, when we did the one for Mr. Christian Hill, Fago,
Yeah,
that was written out,
Was
but
it?
as in,
Oh, it was written out, yeah.
was it?
But I think you
Maybe
can
he just stood up.
anybody can-
You're right. You could stand up and talk about it.
Yeah.
People,
Right.
maybe, and we could just have.
Was that one about this nuclear? Excuse me, somebody was nuclear protesting.
Maybe it was something like that, but I think we did it after, we printed it after the end of at the end, but
You
you
know-
can still ask Dana, could just mention it as, hang around, there's.
Yeah, that's the only downside.
the
By the
other
time you get to the end of the meeting.
They're gone.
Yeah. Done.
Yeah,
because there's other things in it, like, I mean, just if you read just the question, you talk
Yeah.
about 1%, and this is what it would cover, and this is how much revenue we get. But it talks nothing about the survey that was done and what
Right.
portion of people do
Because you're
business and
hoping
don't
that
do business.
people
in Bethel.
read the explanation.
Well, yeah.
But that's probably a long.
Yeah.
So
Well-
Brian's shaking his head, ain't gonna. So, all right, well, just so.
All you do is a handout also. You could do.
Yeah, we could
like that.
print this page in the town report and then we could talk to Dana. Dana could say, as the last article that's coming up, that there is a discussion about local option tax as a non-binding
Or
referendum.
just have that as a printout at town meeting day.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, exactly.
One of us or somebody could stand up and
Uh-huh,
want to add this to, non-binding business at the end.
yeah,
And we could say, everybody pull out your flyer you got. That has the information.
just
We could
put it-
go through that
on all the chairs.
and find out what kind of,
That sounds good.
So maybe you're
Yeah.
ending up with a consensus.
do a
of
hand vote that
Yeah.
way.
Just talk about it, but vote on it.
I mean, granted, it's less than 200 people that'll be there. I mean,
But
this way you can probably get a few more people,
maybe they'll tell their
but they
friends.
may not be as educated in what we're trying to do.
Okay,
Well,
So
I think the word's going to get out.
oh, sure. Well, it's not like
That would-
you do this
that would
under the
talk
cloak of
about
darkness. We hope
Yeah.
the word gets
We've
out.
talked about it at several meetings so far.
I mean,
Yeah.
And Joanne and Marshall had brought it up several times as well.
Yeah, she was
last
the
year.
one who asked me about it to bring it up, so.
So what we do is take it off the survey,
Uh-huh,
take it off the warning.
yeah, I have the
And have
warning
this
with it and I have a
on-
warning without it, so, and then
Yeah.
I can take it off the survey. All right, I can make a note to do that. Right.
we'll
So
just have to
then,
make a note on town meeting day, not to forget about it. That's all. I mean,
yeah. Okay.
perfect.
All right, so now Dana's gonna here to talk, because Dana is your new moderator.
Yay, Dana.
Yay, Dana.
Yeah, just a quick question on that.
Yeah.
I haven't done much research, but I'm looking, I have a training session Wednesday morning with League of Cities and Towns. And everywhere I read, it says, you're supposed to elect the moderator at the meeting, but the moderator was elected at last year's meeting. So should Rick actually call the meeting to order and then have the voters do an election? Because I don't see where the authority to the rest with the board in the absence of a moderator.
Well,
know-
Rick didn't run last year. Nobody did.
Right, but you
So-
had a moderator, he was appointed, the town elected him as moderator at the meeting.
Yes, the moderator, the meeting prior, but
No, the
last
last year's
meeting.
meeting, yeah. Go
no,
ahead.
No,
no, he
No, it
didn't
wasn't.
run. So there was nobody ran. So the seat was vacant, hence
Right.
how you appointed. So you were appointed for this town meeting and you will run for the 25.
It's 26. I've already put my petition in for 26 in anticipation that this would be a relatively successful experience.
It'll be great.
The issue was the appointment for this meeting happened by the select board back in November, and I just haven't found any statutory authority for the board's ability to appoint a moderator outside of the meeting or before the meeting.
They have the statutory authority to appoint anyone to fill any vacancy because nobody ran. So like if nobody runs for, say, no one ran for
Yep.
select board, they can do the same thing. But usually it's one of the same people doing your meeting on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So ask him, and if it's Jim, he can still
I will.
tell you probably
I will.
exactly what the statute is.
Okay.
But
That was
you
my
should be,
plan.
yeah.
Okay.
So the warning that you have is the warning that the select board's going to go with. It just has 11 articles.
Okay. And my point in participating here was to find out, as Rick has in the past, who would like to speak to each of the articles.
Right. So you'll have to read article, you kind of just read Article 1, even though
Yep.
there's, because it just goes Australian ballot.
Right.
And then Article 2, usually Chris will do the budget summary.
Yep.
So are you going to take Article 2?
Yeah, I guess so.
So Chris will take Article 2.
Okay.
The Bethel Library will need to be someone from the Bethel Library. It'll be
Okay.
either Bennett Law or Lisa Campbell.
Okay.
Tri-Valley Transit will probably be Tom Burgos.
Well, he'll still have to introduce.
Yeah, I mean, you still got to introduce them, but
So
they
sure,
usually.
Sure. Yep.
People only talk on the floor.
Yeah, Bethel
So-
Food Shelf will probably be Cindy Metcalf.
Yep.
Um,
Since I volunteer at the food shelf, I will just make that acknowledgement at the outset.
okay.
And anybody
then-
objects to my continuing for that article, then so be it.
And then Article 6. Are you taking that?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Paul will do Article
Yep.
6.
But
Okay.
not to confuse the poor guy. But there are some warning items where people talk about it
Yeah,
before it goes to the floor. And then there are other ones that is brought up and then is talked from the floor.
right.
Right.
So
Sure.
like the budget would be something that we would do from our side before it went to the floor.
Yeah. Have you,
Calls would be something that be done before it went to the floor. But the library, the food shelf, Tri-Valley Transit, those would be done from the floor.
exactly.
You know, so he would pose the question on a motion, second it.
Yeah.
You can have discussion.
Yeah, so.
Normally is one of those individuals. first.
Right, so before he called the on Article 2, before he motion for it, he'd let you speak first and then he'd
Sure.
ask for a second. Or no, or you usually, don't you motion it first?
Yeah, I think you do. I think you have to make the motion and then you can
You
open
move
the
it.
discussion.
Yep.
Excuse me, yeah.
Move it and then you can allow someone
Yeah.
to speak first as long as you're good with
Yeah.
that.
The South Royalton Senior Center, I expect will be Eric Richardson.
Yeah.
Okay.
And White River Valley Ambulance will probably be Frank. I'm going to slaughter his last name, Ceruleus or Vallis.
Wait a minute. You
Right.
jumped over
Frank.
well,
Frank.
what happened to the who's doing the social services?
Paul Valley.
Paul Valley.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Paul.
Yeah, White River Valley Ambulance, the treasurer for Warva lives in Bethel and it's Frank.
He's out there in Liliesville.
Cervales, I think.
Oh, wait a minute. All right. I'm social service, senior centers, Eric. Yep. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And Valley Ambulance. You're talking Frank,
Yep.
and I'm supposed to know
I don't know. Someone said he lives in Liliesville.
He told me he lives in Liliesville. He
What's his
bought
last name?
One of them. We can't.
Frank, is it Cervalis?
He bought one of McCullough's places. I don't know if it was Willow's place.
We'll get him, we'll get him.
It's not, that's Olympus, actually.
Olympus.
All right. Well, we'll get the proper spelling of his name.
But the only ones you really have to worry about is just Chris is doing Article 2, Paul does Article 6. All the other ones come from the floor. So
Yeah.
it could be somebody else talking that
Yeah.
day, but
I assume that the lady so Article 9 probably isn't going to be a big discussion. It's just the same dates you guys have paid for a while.
Right.
Article 10 is the 5-year exemption for Middle Branch Grange.
Yep.
And the lady who is in charge of the Grange, I'll get you her name. She said she would come and she's going to bring a couple of Grange members. But like myself, she will need permission from the audience to speak because she's not a Bethel resident.
Right.
So, but I can get you her name. She sent me an email. I apologize. I don't have it with me.
Should be easy.
Yeah.
Seems how they're building.
Yeah, they're hoping they want to build a new range.
Yep. Okay.
You've won.
So you're all excited for
Couple
your
years.
training on Wednesday?
Oh, I'm thrilled. Yeah. I don't usually get up at 7 in the morning.
Rick Benson said that he would be at town meeting and, if you had any questions or whatever.
Good. And I
So
would expect him to be there, and I may ask someone else to be a parliamentarian just in case.
There you go. If Rick starts heckling you from the crowd, you can always have the constable or the
Will
Move
the
him.
constable be there?
we don't have a constable, the sheriff. I don't know, sometimes,
Yeah.
but give him the hook.
Yeah. Well, I have the authority to do that, but
That's
I'm not-
right.
All
You
right.
do. And you might want to check in with Pam at some point because it's kind of a misnomer that the town meeting is actually the moderator's meeting. So you might want to just touch base with her. She's got everything under control because it's
Yeah.
Pam, but
Right.
it's always good to, sometimes if people want to do things within the gymnasium, this and that, it's your job to say,
Oh,
yes or
yeah.
no, but you'd
Right.
want to confer with Pam.
Right. And that would also relate to how we're going to identify the non-voters versus the voters.
Right. Yep. She always does it the same way, I think, as if you have a special sticker
Yeah, stick it.
Right.
that
Right.
says, big
And-
bullseye.
Right. And one of the issues that comes up right away is asking non-voters to stand so that we all know who they are. Is that?
Oh, that's a good.
No one, yeah, that's one of the initial things I've come across in the prep here is ask them all the non-voters to stand so everybody knows who they are, and then we can move on from there.
Sure.
Okay.
Good thinking.
But yeah, just talk to Pam and she
Yep.
can, if you have questions or whatever, just check in with her, it'd be my
Yep.
advice, but
I will.
all right. Well, we
Okay.
really appreciate you doing this, Dana.
Well, oh yeah. Well, it led Allison Fulcher has asked me from Valley School, this supervisory union, to do the same thing with them the night before. So I'll have some practice.
Oh, boy.
I'll see which jokes fly and which don't.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for thinking of me.
Yeah, thanks, Dana.
Thanks, Dana.
Appreciate it. Have a safe trip home.
Thank you. We will try. And we'll see you later. Good luck.
Bye.
Hi, Dana.
All right, so if you're going to approve this warning as written, so everybody needs to sign it, so I can just pass around the signature page.
All right. Motion, have a motion to approve.
Yep,
Can I get a motion to approve the warning as we have in our packet?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
so we're sending it around.
Now we're on our annual certificate of highway mileage.
There you go, I'm gonna sign it, send your way. So everybody sees the I don't, but anyways, yeah, so there were no changes to your annual certificate of highway mileage. We didn't add any highways or remove any this year. So we are at 83.232 miles of class 1 through 3 and 34.52 miles of class 4, because they include the state highway on this thing of 4.28 miles.
Is there any discussion on this annual certificate of highway mileage?
No.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Send it your way for signatures at the bottom, please.
All right. Well,
Yeah, I don't know if you need to do that
we
anymore.
don't need to discuss the local option tax anymore. Discussion of survey for town report.
So if I remove the question on local option tax, so basically it's the same way it was before. Windsor County Sheriff, the questions on that, and how much money we should spend on human services. So I don't know if anybody had any
Yeah,
changes.
I was wondering if we could do a little more detail on the breakdown of the $60,000 number that's on that question. So can we?
Page X of the town report.
No, I just said the proposed budget is X dollars from Human Services Advisory Board and X dollars from add-ons.
Okay, so the proposed budget is 6565, blank from
Blank
Human
from
Service
Human
Advisory
Services
Board
Blank
and blank
add-ons.
from
Just a
additional
little more.
items.
Oh,
Okay.
of detail.
The library is not in there either, so that's a big one.
I would say that it's actually about $90,000.
Okay, well, I'll double check the math.
But the library is not a human.
The library is not a human.
We weren't
service.
classifying that a human
Right,
service.
that's correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so did anybody else have any changes to the survey?
I had, and for whatever reason, I maybe just missed it on the sheriff one last time.
Okay.
So when we took our votes through the board, it ranged anywhere from like 32 hours to 48 hours or something like that. But so the board was 32 to 48 hours. However, the survey covers from 40 to 52. So I didn't know if maybe that range should be open
Let me give you
a little bit.
Oh, so do you want me to drop the high and put a lower one in? Do like a 30?
Well, I think in order to get adequate feedback, we kind of need to have a little bit below it and a little bit above, you know what I mean? Like,
Okay, I
so that
can,
people can go either way with it.
yeah, I think I had gotten pretty long.
Then I had the same question for the human services is right now, all the numbers that we have depicted are basically at or lower where we're at, but doesn't allow for anything to be higher.
Okay, so I can add
Oh,
an.
do you only get 4 choices with that survey? Like A, B, C, D?
No, I can add as many as I want. I just was afraid it would be too overwhelming, but I can add 70 to 80,000 for human services appropriation, and I can add 32 and 36 hours. I can make them A and B under the, how many hours you want them to contract for. So I can make them A and B.
Yeah, just however, so it allows people,
Okay,
not just what we're doing, but they could go lower or higher.
And drop D or keep.
do you want to leave it at 52? You want me to drop the high one?
I would hope so.
Okay, I'll drop the high one.
I mean,
That was easy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
no problem.
And then the human service is the same thing, whatever maybe the next tier up would be. So if somebody
At
wanted
70 to
to,
80.
somebody wanted to put more to the human services, because right now we're already in the 60 something.
you could
Yep.
probably drop the first 2. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not
maybe-
even possible to bring it down to that.
Yeah, maybe you
Without-
start it in the 40 to 50 and go
Okay.
up.
All right,
Just, I don't know, just trying to
that's fine.
think on that.
All right,
I'd keep the 30-40,
okay,
but drop the 20-30.
Yeah.
Just maybe add another tier above that one.
Yeah.
yep, add the
That-
70 to
that's on
80.
the other.
No problem. No, because we don't usually send it till the Tuesday, tomorrow. It goes tomorrow because they needed to sign the warning today, but it's done
Yeah.
and it goes to the printers tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure when.
Yep,
We all set with that?
yep.
All right, now the town manager's report.
So everyone should have got their postcard by now, letting people know, take a pic. So it goes to the,
We didn't,
Like-
I didn't get one.
well,
Did you take your mail?
Unless it came today, I didn't get it.
It didn't come today.
Mine came today.
so no,
Should be your neighbors too.
You got two? Did you get mine?
No.
no Dave, no Chris. Okay,
Hey, you never know. There's all
I don't
kinds.
know. We have some extras
I
in
get
the
all kinds of
office.
people's mail. I get people mail from
Mine
the jail
came
bar
Saturday.
sometimes. I'll go down there.
Did you get yours, Brian?
I do. I get.
Mike?
I got ladies prescription.
Maybe. Cecil?
I felt bad. Better find this
Here.
person. I did. Wait for it.
I'll be,
Yeah, I got mine last week.
all right.
It's down at the end.
Maybe you've caused a rift, Dave, at the post office.
I know.
I don't know. I will.
If I figure you'll get yours anyway.
We know you're on the list because we did it for registered voters, so unless there's something we don't know about you. So,
I don't really care. I know where it is.
all right, well, I just noted,
I'll check when I go home tonight, but it wasn't there as of yesterday.
okay,
I came in the last week, I think.
I don't get.
Well,
So
sounds like the majority
I
of
just
people
get
here got them.
handed
So the water project is still not complete. We're still dealing with the booster pump station, the Crystal Drive booster pump station. So I think we're still waiting for the generator. We're still waiting for, we're waiting for some finish up of electrical and for Champlin to finish up. So the booster pump station is still not complete. Geico Well House, we found out, Drew Minash, they came last week and we found out that the wellhead that never got ordered, then they had it custom made and that was here and they were here meeting with Richard to make sure that, you know, it fit before we pull everything out. So I'm hoping, we'll see some movement over there, at the station. So we're still, you know, we're getting there, but those are the last two pieces of that project that'll be done, that need to be done. Obviously, there's some cleanup in the spring, near the entrance to Babes and, you know, Sand Hill lawns, that type of thing, but these are the bigger things we're waiting for.
But the rest of the plumbing issues up on Crystal Drive are done.
Oh, yeah,
The new
yep,
line.
and they already have better water pressure than they had before. So, yeah, so that's doing. What's gonna have to happen is once the booster pump station comes online, we'll need to send, I noticed there's 3 homes on Crystal Drive that have the name, what is it, escapes me, but they basically have their own pump. They just kind of like
Their own
suck
booster.
their booster pump in their house. So we need to have them disconnect those. And,
Yeah, I think Rodney's got one.
yeah, there's 3 houses that have them that we know of. So we'll speak to them and ask them to just disconnect those. They won't need them anymore. So yeah, so we're getting there. So the earmark for Sanders, we should be getting that money, the 600,000, in the next couple of weeks. The state, we also are expecting, expecting $203,126 from FEMA because we got the additional money since we were going to be on the hook for 12 and a half, but we ended up, because it went over a certain amount, FEMA gave us more money. So we'll be getting another 203 from them. And then hopefully the state, they hold on to their money till FEMA pays. We're looking for another 105,000 from them. And then that will be that we've received the complete funding from the July 2023 event. And we're still waiting, still have a project left from December. Actually 2 projects. The Bethel Mills Pump Station should be finishing up. And then of course, Sugar Hill, which is going to go a little bit, which is going to go a ways. And then I just gave you my vacation schedule for the spring and here after town meeting. So
Did you say something about a generator for the,
booster pump station?
Pump
Yeah.
station?
Mhm. Yep.
so we don't have generators on our other pump station, do we?
No, but
So is
this,
that, what's that? This power goes out, generator comes on, wires up the pump, but there's no water because we can't pump water from downstream up to there. How's that work?
Well, this is the booster pump station. The other
understand.
ones, the other ones, for water. We have a couple, obviously we have a couple days worth of water in the, reservoir. This is more to, to fire up, obviously, if we lose power there, just so we can fund it. But they also have holding tanks inside, large holding tanks inside that building as well. So,
Okay.
but yeah, just a generator was part of the package when they built it. So let's see. So yeah, so this will be the last of town meeting discussion. So we'll be able to move on to new topics now that the budget, this is what's going to go in front of the voters. So we'll be able to move on to new topics, greener.
For the next,
Huh?
the next two will have informational.
We'll have informational meeting, but we'll also have, that'll be the only thing on the dock for town meeting is our informational hearings. Cause we have to have them. We have to have one end of February, 10 days prior before town meeting. And we usually do two just because we're always, we're meeting anyways. So.
Have you heard anything from the district on class 2 grant
No,
applications for this year? Like, is it going to be back to normal? Is it still going to be half of what it was last year?
I have no idea. I haven't heard.
I also heard remember how it went up to 225 a couple years ago? Now here it's going back down to
200.
175.
Oh, no kidding. We've only got.
And remember some of those smaller ones, like the $60,000 ones? I heard those are going away.
I haven't heard anything. All the applications are out.
I heard it's all or nothing, big ones now.
No, I don't know. We put, all of our applications have gone in. That one hasn't come out yet. The paving grant application hasn't come out yet. But when we did Christian Hill, we got 200,000.
Yeah, 225, wasn't it? Or
I thought it was just a straight 200.
was it 200?
But they sent us all the better roads, so we've put all the better roads ones out. I have not done a structures grant yet. I haven't seen that application yet, and I haven't seen the paving grant application. So maybe I haven't heard any scuttlebutt, but I can reach out to Chris Bump.
Yeah, well, I haven't heard it much from the state yet, but I was just kind of, they'd slapped it all last year, and
Yeah, you know what?
we're probably another year away from being eligible anyways, because we just had one on
Yeah,
Christian Hill 2 years ago. Well,
yeah, could be. I mean, it's.
we used it 2 years ago, but it was from three years ago.
Yeah, we usually put them in anyways, because if they don't have enough towns in our jurisdiction, in our area, our district that has filed, sometimes you can get one out of sequence. They generally tell you every 3 years, but I'll reach out to Rita Cito actually and Chris Mump and see what she's heard. But but the other grant applications are in. The one that goes in February 19th is the municipal parking lot. And the Historical Society and the credit union wrote us letters of support. So I need to find, I need to do a couple more things for Rita. We're waiting for your estimate. And so I think we have to have it in by, I think it's the 19th of February, but maybe sooner. Other than that, any grant application that we've seen, we've applied for. And I did have a nice conversation with Chris Force, and he is trying his darndest to wrap up the VOREC grant. We have until the end of December, but we just signed a contract with Andrew Plotsky for designing the kiosks and the wayfinding when he's going to come and talk to the select board at some point about the wayfinding package and presentation. I have copies of it, but when he's ready to come, he'll let me know. So he's working hard to get that wrapped up. So it'll be.
It's pretty interesting. I saw, he sent me a copy of
Yeah,
the whole report.
yeah, I have hard
Pretty thorough.
copies. Box
Pretty
for
thorough.
everybody. Yeah, so it'll be good to.
Expensive, but.
Yeah, I think he's just happy to get that behind. He just wants to be done. I think he didn't sign up to be a project manager for, the rest of his
Get a
life.
permit that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
He's still healing from it.
yes, exactly.
So,
Exactly. So, but yeah, that's all the, the grants that we have right now are all kind of wrapping up. So.
All right, Blaine, did that wrap up your
Yep.
town manager's report?
Uh-huh.
All right. We have any motion for the select board minutes or conversation from 1:13?
Move is great.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have other communications that are in your packet for your reading pleasure. And is there any other business to come before the board?
Does anybody have any questions on the budget? Okay, well, the budget finance report's in there. If you have any questions, you can always call me or email me, stop by.
All right. Any other business come before the board?
Cecil, you're a latecomer. You got anything? You missed public comment. Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Nice, Brian. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn if there's no other business?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Need a second? Who seconded it? Dave?
Dave.
Okay.